Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Budget 2021 Autumn video. Now, this is the first of two videos. This one is recorded prior to Rishi Sunak making his announcements, but in this video, I'll be sharing with you what I think you're going to hear later on today, and then we will compare this later on this afternoon when I do a straightforward analysis in layman's terms as to what this actually means to your business. Now, firstly, let's take a look at what the predictions could be. Well, things that are going to affect those predictions are what does the recovery look like? Now, we've gone through a period of turbulence not known since the last Spanish flu or the world wars of World War I and II. So it's been over 100 years. Now, as a government, we are borrowed up to virtually 100% of our GDP, which basically means Rishi Sunak doesn't have a lot of money to give away. But the last tax receipts announced in June and July were actually up on predictions. So Rishi might have a little bit of wiggle room here because as an economy, we're recovering quite strongly and quite well. But things that affect that economy are inflation. Now, there's two ways to control inflation. One is interest rates, and I did a video on that topic with my good friend Ranjan Bhattacharya. And the other one is to raise taxes. Now, today I'll be covering how the taxes will affect you. So if you want to find out more about the budget announcements later today, make sure, if you're not already, you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that share button as well and share it with your friends who might benefit from it. And if you haven't already, hit the bell icon because when I announce around 1 o'clock today, the businessman's analysis of what that budget means, where the opportunities are for you, you'll be one of the first to hear about it. So we've looked at taxation, we've mentioned inflation that I've covered in previous videos. The other thing we have to look at is the government deficit. Now, I've mentioned we've borrowed almost 100% of GDP. So the way to reduce that deficit is either to raise taxes or encourage inflation, because inflation will reduce the amount of deficit in real terms. Putting up the interest rates, however, will inflate the deficit. So I don't think we will be increasing interest rates. And if you disagree, drop me a comment and tell me what your thoughts are. But today's budget day and it's all about tax. So will Rishi be raising taxes? I don't think he will, because he's had some good tax receipts during the summer. The economy's kick-starting, but I do think there might be a few stealth taxes. What could those stealth taxes look like? Well, it's been rumoured capital gains taxes are likely to be aligned with income taxes. My personal view is I don't think they will be, because that would be a one-off benefit to the exchequer, treasury, but in real terms, I don't think he will. What he might do is tweak the annual allowance of £12,300 so that you pay a little bit more capital gains tax. But I don't think Rishi wants to see a mass sell-off of assets because that will cause asset prices to tumble. But what I do think he will also do is a raid on the pension funds, a stealth tax. So if you're a SaaS investor or if you're investing in pensions, the two ways that he's likely to do will follow on from the ways in which Gordon Brown started this process off back in 1997. First one is the annual investment allowance, where the government are likely to reduce the amount of money that you can hold as a maximum in your pension. Currently that's at 1.1 million. But the plan of government is to bring that value down to 700,000. The value of your fund above that then becomes taxed. It's hidden money. It's not coming out your pocket today. You don't see it. The second way that there could be a stealth tax on pensions is the annual contribution that you can make. And again, I think that threshold will be reduced. Now, this has already caused some unusual knock-on effects to sectors where there are high earners, over 100,000. And yes, it was targeted at high earners, but it's had an implication on sectors such as the NHS, where consultants and doctors are being taxed on their pensions, so they're now exiting the pension scheme. So that's a bit of a tweak that I'd expect to see corrected. Now, the other thing to look at is incorporation tax on business. Will Rishi Sunak raise incorporation tax or corporation tax? I don't think so. A lot of landlords have incorporated, which means that they're paying a lower tax rate than they would do if they were a higher rate taxpayer. They're only paying the 19%. Now, if they were to increase corporation tax rates, that discourages businesses from investing. It also makes the UK less attractive as the offshore haven from Europe. So I personally think corporation tax rates will not be raised. If you agree, drop agree below. If you disagree, comment below why you disagree with me on that particular point. What I do think, however, is Rishi will give some incentives away. Now, last time he took the market by surprise with his supertax deduction on capital allowances, where if you invest in your business, you will get a super deduction off your tax bill. I think we're likely to see more of that, because what the government want is us to invest heavily in our infrastructure, in our businesses, for future growth. Future growth equals future tax revenues. Link that with inflation. Therefore, the revenues are even larger. Therefore, the tax take is larger, and the government debt has contracted through inflation. So that is the win for the government on that particular one. Business rates, will they be finally announced in this budget? I don't think so. I think that can is likely to be kicked down the road, or if business rates are reviewed, it's likely to be that there is significant reductions and benefits for businesses, because they've really struggled and there's a lot of businesses on their knees, especially high streets. Now, the final thing that I'm not expecting in today's budget, which there's talk of by the Green Party, is the supertax on landlords to pay for all of the COVID support that's been put out there. Now, personally, I think that will not happen, and I would be very surprised if I saw the supertax on landlords. That's all for today's update. I look forward to seeing you at 1 o'clock today, where I'll be giving you my live analysis just after Rishi has spoken, interpreting that into what it actually means to your business, where the opportunities are, where you can save money, but also what I will be considering doing to tweak or amend my advice to business owners, property investors, as to how they need to protect their business from any tax changes. All the best. Speak to you later on today. Drop me a comment. What are your predictions for today's budget?